influencing yet another in a chain reaction of behavioral change, markets for all manner of green products and alternative technologies will prosper and expand. Consciousness will be raised, perhaps even changed. New moral imperatives and new taboos might take root in the culture. Driving an SUV or eating a 24-ounce steak or illuminating your McMansion like an airport runway at night might come to be regarded as outrages to human conscience. Not having things might become cooler than having them. And those who did change the way they live would acquire the moral standing to demand changes in behavior from others, from other people, other corporations, even other countries. Going personally green is a bet, nothing more or less, though it's one we probably all should make, even if the odds of it paying off aren't great. Sometimes you have to act as if acting will make a difference, even when you can't prove that it will. That, after all, was precisely what happened in communist Czechoslovakia and Poland, when a handful of individuals like Václav Havel and Adam Michnik resolved that they would simply conduct their lives as if they lived in a free society. That improbable bet created a tiny space of liberty that in time expanded to take in and then help take down the whole of the Eastern Bloc. So what would be a comparable bet that the individual might make in the case of an environmental crisis? Havel himself has suggested that people begin to conduct themselves as if they were to live on this earth forever and be answerable for its condition one day. Fair enough, but let me propose a slightly less abstract and daunting wager. The idea is to find one thing to do in your life that does not involve spending or voting, that may or may not virally rock the world, but is real and particular as well as symbolic, and that, come what may, will offer its own rewards. Maybe you decide to give up meat, an act that would reduce your carbon footprint by as much as a quarter. Or you could try this. Determine to actually observe the Sabbath. For one day a week, abstain completely from economic activity. No shopping, no driving, no TV, no electronics of any kind. Or, he says, unfortunately it's the wrong time of year, but I'll read it anyway, grow a garden. Rip out your lawn if you have one, and if you don't, if you live in a high-rise or have a yard shrouded in shade, look into getting a plot in a community garden. And by the way, we have one. Measured against the problem we faced, planting a garden sounds pretty benign, I know. But in fact, it's one of the most powerful things an individual can do, to reduce your carbon footprint, but more important, to reduce your sense of dependence and dividedness. At least in this one corner of your yard in life, you will have begun to heal the split between what you think and what you do, to commingle your identities as consumer and producer and citizen. The single greatest lesson the garden teaches is that our relationship to the planet need not be zero-sum. And as long as the sun still shines and people still can plan and plant, think and do, we can, if we bother to try, find ways to provide for ourselves without diminishing the world. And we would also find that we have something to be truly grateful for, because we would understand the work involved in bringing food to the table and understand the frustrations that often come with that kind of work, of too much moisture or not enough moisture or bugs and plant disease. All my tomatoes had disease this year. It was awful. We have a sense of the miracle that the food we eat is. But whether it's gardening or actually choosing to observe the Sabbath by resting and giving the planet a rest, or choosing to change our diet, or changing light bulbs, every single one of us can begin to live a more grateful life. More grateful because it really connects the choices we make in life with the outcomes and the consequences of those choices. More grateful because it's right there in front of us. It's hands-on. So I invite you to think as we approach our Thanksgiving season. First of all, about the things that you are grateful for. But as I say often here when I talk about gratitude, there's a two-sided coin with gratitude. And one is being grateful and one is being responsible. And the way to really live into gratitude is to step up to responsibility and to resolve that in at least one area of my life, I'm going to vow to make a difference with the choices I make, to reduce my carbon footprint, to live more simply, to live more peaceably, and begin to live into and out of the gratitude that I talk about, but really express it with the way I live my life. So I invite you and challenge you all as you approach Thanksgiving to think about what choice, what change can you make in your life to live into and out of the gratitude that you express on Thanksgiving Day. Thank you for listening. This is one of those days when the lights are bright and I'm not actually sure anybody's